Hello everyone, my name is Laurent Daudet. I'm a co-founder and co-CEO at LightOn. LightOn is a company specialized in generative AI. We've been around for 8 years now and building some of the largest LLMs around. And also we have this platform called Paradigm that we sell to the enterprise customer to enjoy, to use generative AI in their production settings. It maybe we have use cases in like any type of workflow involving text. So typically in legal departments, in IT departments, in marketing departments, in R&D departments, and so on. So this is really our focus. How can a business use generative AI? And today I'm going to talk about what's coming next in our products, and they are the agents. I think many of you have already heard of agents, and these are the type of microservices that are being built on top of generative AI. And I'm just going to present you how we do it at LightOn. And it's always a challenge to be the last speaker before the beer that everyone is looking forward to be drinking. So I'll try to be as short as possible and be not too technical, but leave some room for questions if you have. And please interrupt me as well if you want to ask questions during my presentation. So everyone knows generative AI, and I would say there are like the first two generations of GenAI. The first one was using the LLM as a chatbot, really like a ChatGPT type of thing, type of interaction, and it can be useful in many settings. I would say the second generation was to do this what's called RAG, retrieval augmented generation, where this is kind of a hybrid between internal search engine and generative AI, where you are plugged into a data set and you can ask questions over a set of documents. And this is something that we really implement a lot with our enterprise customers, really this RAG system. Very useful typically in finance, where they have to follow some companies and have all their documentation, a lot of legal documentation as well. So this RAG system are very, very useful, and but they work very well now. But they are limited to simple workflow. I don't know if you all can read, but this is typically the RAG system that we develop for customers. And we ask a simple question: what is the procedure for taking vacation at LightOn? And it searches through the documents, and we have something called the LightOn book, which is like our manual for newcomers that summarize everything for internal procedure. And it says this is the procedure to take vacation, to request vacation. And this is the source, page 78. You can check the source, and if you click on the icon, it would highlight the paragraph concerning vacation. So this is typically something that works very well, but that's limited to simple things. And you may have some problem, some task at hand that require more complex workflow. Here, this is an example where you want to make a graph illustrating the total vehicle production capacity for each site. So this is a table. It's a bit small. I'm sorry about that. It's a table. It's even an image. It's a PNG image. It's a screenshot of a table where you have like a Tesla production per different sites, and you want to draw some graph for vehicle production capacity for each site. And this is not so straightforward to do, right? You have to do first OCR to read what's in the table and to understand that it's a table, and then you have to do some Python code execution to to do the actual graph, to understand which rows, which columns correspond to what you want, to make the correct sums, and to plot the graph. So I'm going to detail later, but for us, an agent is just a set of is an orchestrator for a set of tools. And tools are these individual tools that make one thing, that retrieve information, that make summaries, that compare two types of documents and so on. And the agent is here to do the orchestration, to do complex workflow through to choose which tool to use, and to do complex workflow using multiple tools. So this is just the idea. Of course, the quality of the agent depends strongly on the quality of the tools, right? And everyone knows this garbage in, garbage out. If you have an agent that is supposed to recover information from the set of documents, but is not efficient, then the agent won't do the task really. So just as an example, here you want to say you want to do a very basic RAG system where you first to do a RAG you want to do a search through a set of documents, and one very naive way of doing that is to do you have a vector database where you have vectorize all your documents, and that's where you want to retrieve your information. And then starting from the query, you do the embeddings of the query, and then you search in your vector database the vectors that are more aligned with your query. But this is something that you can do in minutes, really. There are plenty of tools to do that, but it won't work that well, because it's probably is too naive, too simple to really work at scale efficiently. The way you should do some retrieval is probably something more looking like that, where you would have multiple search backends. Here you have 3, but you may have much more than that. And each of them would have a different refinement of the query, a different search, and it would retrieve different objects from the database, and then you would have to rank all the objects and to decide which object you are going to have. And this is the way to implement an efficient RAG system, an efficient retrieval system as a front end to a RAG system. The type of tools that we use at LightOn, we have 5 basic tools. The first one is search, exactly just as I described in the step before. Search is retrieve chunks of text from documents, from the web, from any type of source you may have. The second one is analyze, is from this text, extract some information. Third one is compare. Are there some differences between these two chunks of text? Summarize is very, straightforward. Take a big document and can you summarize this big document? And then the last one is a bit special, is everything related to mathematics, for instance, where you want to do code execution. You want to execute some Python to do mathematical stuff and data analysis. So with a combination of all these 5 tools, there are plenty of tasks that you may want that you can do. It's important to now you take all these tools, these 5 tools, and then the agent will choose which tool to use and which database to use as well. The database, it could be from most generic, it could be the web. It could be a public database, more restricted a company database, a team database, and individual database. And because in a company, not everyone has access to all the information, of course. You may want to restrict the rights of a single individual on some individual database. So typically, all the agents can access all this information, and the agent will choose whatever source of information is most relevant for your problem at hand. And then what you do is a workflow. An agent is really a workflow through this set of tools. For instance, first you search through your set of documentation, then you analyze to get some very specific information, and then you would, for instance, compare to documents. Say, I want to check if this procedure is compliant with the set of rules. So you would have to compare the procedure on the set of rules and check whether you are compliant or you are not compliant. So this is typically what we do. And something that's also super important, because yes, question.
So human creates a workflow, or is it automatically created?
You can create it automatically, or you can force it. You can create it yourself. You can do either way. Yes, something that's very important, because we want to be, really enterprise ready. And some companies, typically our clients are banks or defense or health companies. They are very, very sensitive, not only about the data that has to stay private, but also not everyone in the company has access to all the information. Like in defense companies, the projects are very siloed, and you have some documents that are very, very sensitive that very few people have access to. And okay, here, for instance, you don't want the agent to have access to all the information of the company. And so, for instance, you don't want a user to ask the agent for the salary of everyone in the company. And it's super important to inherit the rights that you have on the documents from the users. So it does the search tool has to be related exactly to the rights of Paul, and not a generic agent for the company. So let me just give you a couple of examples. The first one is an agent for tables. And you can see this is our interface. It cannot be simpler. What is my task today? Go. So the most simple interface you can imagine. And then here we go. So here you would upload a table. So this is exactly the example I was showing before. Make a chart with total vehicle capacity per location. So this is the screenshot of what I was describing before. Let me just go back. Yes. So you have different production site, different Tesla models, and then the capacity per production site. So again, this is a screenshot. This is not a real table. So you would have to run first to run an OCR, and then execute Python code to draw this table where you have the 4 production sites and then the capacity per location. So this is all fine. And then you say. Here's a bar chart showing adjust the chart so each vehicle has a different color, and it would do it automatically by putting a different color for the Model 3 and Model Y or whatever Tesla model there is in the chart. So this is the first example, a very simple example of the agent. Another example is for images. Say you, what is my task today? Extract information from this image and compare to a database. So you have an image which is an ID card, like a national identity card for French citizen. So extract information from this image, search the document database from the extracted information, and highlight the differences between the two documents. So this is really extract information and then compare to a given database that you also have to extract information from the database and then compare if, so here's the Gaël Chevalier, does this person exist in the database or not? So the system would first run the OCR and then search the document and then compare the two, and then okay. So this is the extraction of the OCR, and then compare the information in the database. So in the database, oh, there's a Chevalier as well, but actually there are some differences. Even though the last name is the same, the first name is different, and the date of birth is also different. So it actually did the job in finding the difference between what's on the picture and what's in the database. And of course, we know we are extending that towards multi-agent, where you would combine several agents, typically either at the same level where they exchange different agents, exchange information, or like in a hierarchical way where you have one leader, several followers, or even like combining these two in having this more complex thing. So this is something that's very much work in progress. We are investigating that in the R&D, but for our customers, we are starting simple. Yes, something that I find really amazing and super interesting is where does the planning ability come from? How do you design the parameters of your model so that it has planning capacities? So, of course, the straightforward way to increase capacity is to take a bigger model. You take a model with more parameters, it will have more planning capacity. But of course, training a model with a lot of parameters requires a lot of compute. So here you have a measure of the planning capacity as a function of the compute in the training of the model. It's a log scale, so it's a lot more compute here than here. So of course the capacity would increase. The bigger the model, the more training you have in your model. But this is just at train time. What's interesting as well is that you have the similar trend also at test time. You can by doing the type of workflow I presented before. So the type of workflow like this one, for instance. Here, of course, it would increase the compute at test time. You have more delay because you have more more individual actions to do. So it increased the compute at test time, but you have the same type of trade-off in terms of the capacity in terms of planning as a function of the time to compute. So this is, in a sense, the delay in which you will get the answer. So you would have different trade-offs in terms of acceptable delay for the answer and on how much accuracy of your answer, on what's acceptable for you. I think that's a neat conclusion. So just as a very general summary, the agents in our platform are just call them microservices for any like a virtually infinite number of business use cases. So that's what we are really focused on. We are gradually integrating this agent into Paradigm, and just starting this year. And our goal is really in the business world to make AI completely pervasive. And you have noticed that the interface is getting simpler. You have much less button. To go back to the question, can we completely parameterize? Yes, of course you can completely parameterize. You can access that yourself, and you can decide exactly with the workflow. You can force the agent to use a specific set of tools in a given order. But I think the true strength of agents is to really let the AI suggest what's the right tool, and like in a way, it's make AI pervasive and disappear. You want the technology to disappear. You want people just to focus on their business case and not even feeling that there is an AI working for them. It's just it will become natural that the AI suggest a workflow, and our intuition is that in a few years' time, people won't even think that there is an AI. It will be something as natural as using Word, for instance, as we do it today. So thank you. And that's it. That's it. Just a final thing. You will probably hear a lot of about LightOn in the next few days. We just announced our forthcoming IPO, so you may, if you want to invest, invest in the company as well. It's open to the public tomorrow.
Thanks for the very useful talk. So a question, you mentioned an agent is an orchestrator of different tools.
Yes.
You haven't mentioned where the LLM comes into play. So
oh yeah. Okay, yes. The LLM is really maybe the best example is in the video. No, not the one. The first one. So for instance, this is the video where you take the table and you take the table and you graph the total capacity per car. So the OCR doesn't use the LLM, but at some point, yes. Here the LLM is used to produce the Python code to draw the graph. So it really generates some Python code, execute Python. So generate the Python code, execute it. Here in that case, it worked just out of the box. But sometimes the Python code has errors, and the LLM would read the output of the Python executor and would decide how to self-correct. To adjust, for instance, if the first row is occupied by special values, it would skip the first row and so on. And the LLM would decide itself how to do things. As another example here, you can ask the question. I skipped that. What is the total production capacity for the USA? And it's interesting. The total production capacity for the USA is yes, you can see here. The LLM has generated this very small piece of code. So it seems easy, but it has to be an LLM to understand that when you ask for the USA, you have to sum up California and Texas, and not to take Berlin, for instance. That's not in the USA. So the LLM is really here to really understand what's in the table, and decide to, of course, to use math, to use Python to sum these numbers, and not to try to do the summation by itself, just by the LLM. So the LLM is really used throughout this workflow at different stages, but mostly to produce code. Here in an intelligent manner, deciding that USA was California and Texas and not Berlin or the other city, I don't remember. Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. According to your work or your intuition, what is the tool that people's going to use the most first? According to the 5 tools you were describing, search, summarization, comparison.
I would say the search and summarization. And search, for instance, compare what is on the web and what is in a set of documents. And this is really something I was saying that typically we have some customers in the financial sector where they have to have updates on some company, what are the news and what has been announced on Apple last week. And so you have maybe internal documentation about Apple, but also documentation on. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You would compare like the all the documentation provided by the company and so on. So this is I would say they are the tools. But then I would say Python code production is also very useful in this type of mathematical analysis as well.
Thank you.
You mentioned memory within the agent. Does the solution provide like an easy way to share memory from an agent to another?
Yes. Yes. I cannot comment much more than that. But yes, you would have to different agent exchange information. This is really work in progress. On this problem is not completely solved, I have to say. And this type of things we are investigating, but sometimes it's not completely stable. Sometimes the information is incomplete that is exchanged between different agents. So this is really something that we are working on at the moment. We are more like in a simple type of agent, combining. Our focus is more to have very efficient tools and simple planning, rather than having complex planning. That if you don't completely master your tools, then a complex planning will output garbage, I would say. Yeah.
In your view, what are the models that are really good at selecting among different tools, orchestrating tools, keeping track of the task and the planning until it's completed? There are several models we are comparing. That's really part of our internal work of comparing models. I would say planning capacities. The only thing I would say is you have to go above a certain size in terms of number of parameters. Don't expect good planning capacities for a model that only has 8 billion parameters. Agentic capacities start at maybe 30-40 billion parameters, and above that you start to have good planning capacities.
Yes, if I heard well, you mentioned that you were a SaaS service, and when you connect to some database of your clients or things like that, does it raise you concern or they challenge you regarding of data security, privacy, and kind of things?
Yes. So the way we do it is we install everything on premise for our clients. So there is no data that gets out of the servers of our clients. So this is the on premise. We even for some defense security, we've done some air-gapped installation on that. My engineers hate it, but we can do air-gapped on for very sensitive data.
Yeah, you talked about workflows, and you showed the 5 that large, and you said it could be either automatic, or you could declare it yourself. Is that declaration in natural language declaration? Or is that
yeah. In the example I gave here, you start by no. Is this in this video? No, it's in the other video. You do slash OCR.
that seems to be a task.
Yeah, slash OCR, make a chart. So
that seems to be a task, not orchestration, though, of different agents.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This one you say I want to use the OCR tool on this picture. You force the tool to be the OCR, and then it would output a table.
Okay, so it's natural language. Okay.
Yeah, it's natural language. Yeah.
A couple of questions. I guess the prompts behind the scenes, do you make them specific to like certain sectors, or, for example, the question there was about finance or production.
Yep.
Let's say if someone wants to use your tool, let's say some medical or like a fitness or cuisine, cooking. So how do you, meaning are your prompts generic, or you have to kind of have a battery of different ones specific to the task?
Yes.
You go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no. I think it's hard to answer in a very generic manner. In general, the prompts are generic, but of course you can refine it. You can have some refinement of the prompts specific to specific vertical, specific use cases. In general, not. In general, it's not the case. You can use generic prompts for the same prompt for financial analysis and some. Unless it's very specific in terms of vocabulary, in that sense, you have to do fine-tuning of your embeddings or fine-tuning of your model on some generic data. But yeah, in general, it's generic. There are two questions over there. Behind you first.
In the financial example that you was talking about, or the defense industry you mentioned as well, do you say that you had your model on premise? So do you train your customers, and is it private by design, or do you have access to their data for maintenance or those?
No, it's more like the first. We train our customers, and we don't have access to the customers' data. Everything is on premise, so we train them on how to use them, how to use the tools on the. We don't see what they do with the model on the.
Protected because it's private by design, or it's more like a contractual?
No, it's private by design. Private by design, yes.
Yeah, right. Well, first of all, thanks. That was a super exciting talk. I was wondering, is there like an upper limit to the kind of complexities of the workflow? Because they're quite a small set of generic.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm wondering for like more complex workflows, having like things.
Yeah. There's it's very tempting to increase the number of tools that the system may use, but then exactly as you say, you run into complexity, exponential complexity, and that's our experience. I'm not saying that it's a very general statement, but our experience is that it's better to restrict the number of tools, have only these 5 basic tools, but have them work very well, rather than increasing the number of tools, and then there is too much complexity and the agent cannot orchestrate anymore. So these planning capacities only work for a limited set of tools.
Yes, is the request from the user also, the complexity of the request of the user also an issue? Did you have some limits of what the user is asking? If, for instance, they're asking in comparison between a lot of different things, so it will make a lot of requests for searching the information, then a lot of comparison, perhaps a lot of some things. And is it an issue now that you reach the complexity, a limit of the complexity?
Yes, there is always a limit of on the complexity. Yes, so at the moment, yes, it's limited to tasks that do not require a whole database to be parsed and to be processed. So yes, there are some limits, of course.
It's an issue for the users. The users feel limited because of that, or is it good enough?
Yeah, it's good enough. It's good enough. We are confident that we can go in production very soon. So that's yeah.
Last question.
Okay. In terms of design, do you have other things like to talk to agent other than chat?
Plenty of examples based on text. I don't have them here, but examples like, for instance, we are building a tool to help people navigate with RFPs. Plenty of documentation. This is only a text-based agent, but it would extract the questions from the RFP and answer each question separately, taking into account previous answer to similar RFPs and so on. So we are really working on some purely text-based agents as well.
So perfect. Thank you everyone for this inspiring afternoon. And we have